Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to demystify the complexities of the mythographic coloring books. I'm going to give you a super easy step-by-step system that I think will work for everyone. Now at the very end of the video, I've added a section of coloring examples for my system, and that's only because I realized after I recorded the whole thing I should have provided more examples throughout the video. So please stick around, meet me on the other side, and let's get started. So here they are, the two mythographic coloring books that I own. And for me, and I've been coloring probably regularly for going on 5 years now, and these are very daunting. I haven't even colored in the Paradise book yet, which I covered in another video, and I don't know if I will or not, but you can see how complicated these pages are. There's really a lot going on. So now, before we get started, I'm going to give you a 4-step formula to make coloring these pages a little easier, and then a bonus background section because I think backgrounds can be really intimidating. But before we do that, I want to walk through 4 pages I've colored in this first book, and this is Mythographic Fairy Wonderland. So I've colored page 2 here, and you can see there's a lot going on. But what you also can't see unless you really zoom in and look, the way I colored all these green leaves, I just kind of, in some places, just mashed the color together. I didn't really honor the line art because at that kind of micro level, who cares? It doesn't matter, right? Then I've got, let's see, this page that I did. This page actually has an interesting story. The Distress ink did not take to this paper like I thought it would. I just could not get it to saturate. And so I gave up, and I was left with this background that I thought was just terrible. And then I found the right color family to go with it, and now I actually love it. I've got 2 more back here. Let's see. Okay, there's this page. Oops, I keep knocking my camera as per my way of doing things. So this page here, I actually turned the paper upside down when I colored this section because it was easier for me to make sense out of it. So there's that page. And then this is the first page I colored in this book. All the other pages were Prismacolors. This is Derwent Polychromos. This is the first page I colored with Polychromos, and I've got some sort of gold acrylic paint pens going on here. But one thing all these pages have in common is a limited color palette. That's going to be one of our steps. But what I thought we could do is walk through the steps together. This is going to be kind of a different video because I'm not going to present you with an already colored picture, which is sort of my normal reverse color along formula. We're going to start with a blank picture, and we're going to talk through the different steps that I think will help. And just kind of go from there. This isn't perfect. I don't have any kind of degree in coloring. It's just a way that I like to look at pages like this to sort of simplify them in my mind. And if it helps even one person, then to me that makes it worth doing this video. Okay, let me get everything ready for step 1, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm going to call step 1, shrink the page. And what do I mean by shrink the page? When I look at this page initially, I'm looking at the whole darn thing, and that is overwhelming. So what you could do is you could think about breaking this page up into zones. And you could like even maybe draw like a pencil line, break it into quadrants. You could break it into like 9 squares. You could break it into 4 columns, whatever works for you. Or you could use a piece of paper and just cover part of the page and say, I'm just going to work on this area up here. And maybe that helps make it not feel so overwhelming. You know, if you do it that way, it takes away the need to plan the entire page, because I'll look at this page and think, I don't know what my background's going to be. I have no idea how to color. Like, do I want the crickets to be a greenish brown color? Do I want to do them like a Fairy Wonderland book and make them pink? I don't know. But I can start on these lanterns and do those just, you know, one shape at a time. So by doing this, if I just say, you know what, I'm not going to worry about the whole page. We're just going to color this one lantern here. That sure is a lot easier to tackle than looking at like everything down here that feels so busy. And even, you know, like I said, you can cover it. You could break it into just like a little square here. You could get like a second piece of paper to put here to cover the bottom part. But that's my first tip for you, is break the page down into little shapes, little components. And that will help you minimize how overwhelmed that page is going to make you feel. Because I look at this and that makes me anxious, if we're being honest. Okay, that's my tip number 1. Let me get started on tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to limit the color palette. Now, y'all know I am a fan of limiting my colors on my page. I think it makes it feel more cohesive. It takes a lot of the stress out of my mind and trying to figure out, well, I want this flower to be pink, this one's going to be yellow, this one will be purple, and then what color do I make the butterflies? So I just picked a handful of colors and I said, that's it. I had like 3 color combos for the flowers. You've got the yellowish, the orangish, and then this variation of the purples. And actually the yellow is a variation of this orange combo. I use the same combos on the butterflies, but by doing that, it's going to make it feel more cohesive. And then, you know, the pages can look complicated because of the line work. But because the line work feels complicated, it doesn't mean we have to add a lot of colors. It means, you know, you could actually simplify it like this. So you could see here for the background, I've got blues. The columns are all kind of dull in comparison. I've got all the same greenery, because at first I thought, oh, maybe I'll make some of the leaves greener than some of the other ones. And so I think I had, this might be like a 2 or 3 pencil combo for the greens. And as I went along, I just kind of had a little bit of give up, and I'd start coloring. Like I'd take this whole section and color it the lighter green. Then I would go back with my darker pencil and add some of the details. But it's really easier when you just kind of break it down like that. But if you choose a handful of colors, like I would challenge you to do like no more than 7 or 8 colors, and make them colors that you can mix together, mix and match. You can grab some of my reverse color along cheat sheets that have limited palettes, certainly not the ones that have 20 colors. But if you wanted to do that one, that's fine too. But I think if you work with limited colors, that will make the page easier, because it takes all of that color choice anxiety away from you, and then you can relax a little bit more. So that's step number 2. And now let's move on to step number 3. Step number 3 is to color with flat color first. What is flat color? Flat color is just straight up coloring with a pencil, no shading, no adding highlights or depth for dimension. So if I take this pencil, this is Sunburst Yellow from the Prismacolor set, PC917. So I'm going to color, oops, let me put my readers on so I can see. I'm just going to color this whole shape, this color here. And for this video, by the way, I'm not going to color the whole page. I'm probably not even going to color a lot of this page. And if I were to color the whole page, it would take me a really long time. In fact, I think, oops, looks like I've got muddy color on my pencil. Some of those pages that you've seen in this book, I've spent hours upon hours working on, because I'm slow. When I sit down to color a page, I'm actually pretty slow. So this is putting down flat color. This is what I mean. Just color the whole shape, any color, and go from there. But that way, if you're just not even worrying about, I don't know how to do the shadows, I don't know how to do the highlights on this, don't worry about it. Just put the color down. That's all we want to do on this step. And there, I didn't even do that great, but you get the idea. So that is step number 3, but just do, you're just going to put color down, nothing fancy. You can see here, I'm not even getting all the white spaces out of it. Just nothing fancy, just blocking some color in. And that's easy, right? You can do that. We can do that together, right? That's super easy. And all that I didn't worry about the background. The rest of the page, I'm just coloring this one little shape, and anybody can sit down and color one shape with one pencil. So that's going to be my tip for you. That's step number 3. Just do flat color first. now let's move on to tip number 4. By the way, I just realized, I think I called this background Distress Ink earlier. I'm sorry, I meant Neo Colors. My Neo Colors, that's what I couldn't get to saturate here. So I just wanted to correct that real quick because I'm sure y'all will be coming back going, yeah, you can totally saturate that with Distress Inks, which I think you could. But for the Neo Colors, which has the water activation, it was really a lot lighter than I was hoping for. And I'm not saying it's the paper or the Neo Colors. I'm saying it's probably a chem issue, if we're being honest. All right, step number 4 is to add in, take a second color, and let's add in a little depth or some sort of dimension on this shape right here. So one way to do it is you can just come in and darken the edges. That's something a little different. Or you can just darken one side of the edges. If you think about a lantern, they're probably lit down here, and maybe they just get a little, the light gets a little darker as you move up to the top of the lantern. So we're just doing, look, this is just 2 colors. And you can see how that already adds a little visual interest. We're just kind of coming along the edges. Oops, and even a bonus if you color outside the lines like I do. That's all that we're doing. Just 2 pencils. I'm not going crazy. I could probably do this whole lantern with 5 pencils if I really wanted to get nutty about it. But just to keep it simple, I'm just going to do those 2 colors. I can always come back with the yellow and blend it a little bit more. But that's it. That's your step number 4. That's pretty easy, right? Anybody can do that? That's right. You could even color this little dot here. We could even darken this line if we wanted to. But it's real easy, just with the 2 pencils, and look at what we've done here to make it feel like it's got a little bit more dimension, right? Okay, you're gonna love step number 5. I'll be right back. And what do y'all think step 5 is? It's going to be to repeat those steps. That's all there is to it. Pick an element, color it with flat color. You're limiting your color palette. And then you just go back and add depth, like with 1 pencil more. And that's it. And you're going to do that and repeat that for each element all over the page. And like I said, if you choose from a limited color palette, that will make it a lot better. It's like I could start this lantern and I could color it mostly with orange. But then I could leave like this section down here open for yellow. You could do it a little backwards. And so you're still using the same colors, you're keeping it cohesive, but you're just mixing up the ratio and how you're using the colors on the page. But that's really my 4 easy steps. I know they sound oversimplified, but I think when you break it down and you are looking at just, oh, let's do this again. Just 1 section of the page at a time and only working with 2 colors, I think that's going to make it a lot easier for you. And just give that a try. You can definitely share your tips with everybody else in the comments. And I know that y'all always have such helpful things to add to my videos, and I'm grateful. So you could even blend more yellow coming up here if you wanted to. But there's things like that that you can do. So you get the idea of what I'm doing here. But the main goal is shrink your page 1 element at a time, 2 colors, flat color first, then add the depth or highlights later, however you want to do it. All right, now I want to get to my bonus section, which is the background, because I think backgrounds by themselves can be intimidating. So my background section gets its own little set of steps. So I'll be right back. All right, let's talk about backgrounds on these Mythographic pages. I'm going to show you the way I did the backgrounds on these 4 pages. So this background, I did a video not too long ago on coloring a Prismacolor sky. This is like a 3 or 4 pencil combo with a very light, I think that's powder blue or sky blue light, and then light aqua, and this might be non-photo blue, I can't remember. But all I did was mix the colors up all over the background and then just blended them together. That gives it the appearance of clouds, but that's a real simple background that you could do. This background here, as I said, was Neo Colors, and I just went in and I took the Neo color all over the page. It was challenging painting the Neo color in these little bitty areas. And on some areas, My trick with Neocolors is I might not make it into that area, and then I'll find a colored pencil that closely matches that Neocolor, and I'll just lightly shade it in until I get the same depth and color. And that's probably what I did for these little areas. I did this page probably a year ago, so I can't remember honestly, but I think that's probably what I did. Now let's look at this one. I love this sky. So this is just a gradient, like a sunset. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors here. If you look closely, you can probably see them striped across to see where the colors start and stop. But if you just look at it as a whole, it blends together nicely. So I don't want you to worry about being able to notice your color changes there. But that's another way to do it. So you can do a gradient on your sky. And then this last page here, somewhere in here, hang on y'all. I should have marked these pages ahead of time. Oh, there it is. So the background down here is sky. And again, I did the gradient using violets and purples in my Prismacolor box. But this part of the background up here, that's just all grass. So look at that. Does that look like straight coloring to you? You betcha. And even here, I did a gradient a little bit, but most of this, that looks like a, oh gosh, I can't think of the name, the green name, like a spring green maybe, but I would have colored that whole section this green and then gone back in over it with the darker colors. I think I've got like 2 or 3 in here for sure, but you don't have to add so many colors. But your background can be simple. I promise you it can. So if we look at this page here, I think for this page, I would want to color a pink sky. I like pink skies, call me crazy. So what I could do, I've got these 3 colors here, these Prismacolors. This is, I think this is Deco Pink, Hot Pink, and this is probably, that's Process Red, which to me is pink. Let's call it pink. So what I would do here is just start coloring. You could color all of the background with this Deco Pink if you wanted to. And that's what I would do here. So I would just start coloring in the Deco Pink. Now, one thing I want you to see, so my first step is kind of sticking to one color family. So I chose pink, so I'm gonna stick to the pink color family. You can choose blues, greens. If you want to do a gradient sunset sky, then you just pick your sunset colors, but stick to that. Now, do you see what I'm doing? Another tip I have for you is color over those details. Don't try to color around every single little bubble that you see. Color over them, and you can go back and add the bubble detail later. My next tip on the background is I'm taking my pencil strokes all in the same direction. And what that's going to do, it's going to create visual flow on your page without the need to blend. So like if I did the blending here on the lanterns and I just left this whole sky Deco Pink, guess what? That looks pretty awesome. And who cares if there is or is not any shading or depth in the background here. So there's that. So that's your second tip, I think, or maybe your third one. I've really lost count. But you just want to use light pressure so that you're going to pick one color family, use light pressure, color in one direction, and then don't mind the details. Now, the last step for this would be you could come in and add some depth or dimension with your next color. And you can add, like, as we get closer to this shape, maybe I want to make it a little darker. And so you could make things darker along the main object on the page if you wanted to. You could, just like if I wanted to, I could just darken the edges around these shapes here. You could do that. But the backgrounds don't have to be scary. And if one rule to remember about a background, a good background supports your page. It doesn't compete with your page. It's so easy. Like when I sit down and think about doing a background, I really stress out because I was always taught with art and drawing, you paint from the back to the front. You do the background first. That was always the rule I grew up with. And gosh, well, you know me, I don't like coloring rules. So that I kind of stressed out about that. I'll sit down and literally, you could ask some of my coloring friends, I will ponder on a page forever because I can't decide how I'm going to do the dang background. Who cares? Do the background first or last. That's what I want you to do. I want you to do whatever you feel makes sense, feels comfortable. If you are stressing out about your background, you're making it too complicated. So I'm here to show you. Look, this is just 2 colors. And isn't that pretty? Just doing it like this. And, you know, like I said, just try to follow the same direction. And if you follow the same direction, you don't have to worry about, like I have so many pages where I color this way, I color this way, and then now it looks like hash marks. Nothing wrong with hash marks. That is a style, and I think it's beautiful. I'm just trying to help you keep it simple in your mind. You can take a 3rd color. This is the processed red. And maybe I just want to outline the bubbles with the processed red. It's kind of hard to outline these little guys. But maybe that's all I'm doing. And maybe I want to add the processed red a little bit right there. That is all that I'm doing. Or if you want to take the processed red and add that along the edge, you could do that. But that's really it. Your backgrounds can be so easy if you just kind of break it down. And again, same thing. I'm not trying to color the entire background. I'm just coloring this section up here. So it's kind of the same formula as we did with the rest of the page. You're just like working one section at a time. And that's all you need to do. And I think that is the key. I really think if there's one tip you walk away from, it's that. Just one section at a time, one element at a time. Just do that. Limit your colors and don't get overwhelmed. And I think the more you do this, you'll get more comfortable and you'll think, oh, I want to use 10 colors. Great, go do it. That's awesome. And I know it will look amazing. I believe in you and I know you can do it. But I think that this will help you with your background and make it not feel so ominous. I just hate background intimidation. And you know, and the other hard thing, the comparison game is so hard, y'all. I get it. I'm a victim of it. I have so many Instagram posts of other people's coloring pages where I just save them on my Instagram account because I think they're so pretty and they're inspiring to me. I don't want to copy them, but I'm inspired by them. Like maybe there's a technique they used on this page. Maybe I like the colors they used on that page, and all different reasons. And also I have to be careful because when I go back and look at those sometimes, I start comparing like, well, geez, my page is never going to look like that. That looks so nice. But really, that's the worst. Like I've said in so many videos, my dad always used to say, when you compare yourself to someone else, you're going to lose every time. And isn't that the truth? You will always find something better than you and the other person. I don't care if you're comparing hair, if you're comparing coloring pages, shoes, it doesn't matter. You will lose every time. So just stop it. And I think most of my channel is women. Hi to the guys that are watching if you're watching, but most of the channel is women. Around my age group. So y'all get what I'm saying here. But do you see how pretty that is for background? Can you imagine a whole page with that? So I think if you just look at this page now, it's also kind of hard to decipher sometimes in these tiny spaces. Is that background? Is like, you know, if I move down here, is this background? Or what about like right here? Is that the moon or is that the background? Things like that. But I think if you do that, and even here we can do like, let me see if I'm in camera, like this little section. I might just do, oops, I just broke my little rule going back and forth this way. But I might do just this little section here. Here's some of the sky. I guess now that the sky is going to be pink, the crickets won't be pink. That's a spoiler alert, I guess. But you can see, there you go. So you're just working one little section at a time. We're going to darken this a little bit. Nothing crazy, nothing insane, nothing complicated, just a little light outline strokes, right? Maybe even go a little darker with a little processed red. Oops, maybe even go out of the lines. You're bold like that, like me. And that's just an opportunity to color that section darker later. Then you can go back in with your pink, your original Deco pink, and just blend it all together. Easy, y'all. Easy, easy. And here again, we've got a little dot, and now we could take the processed red and just outline that. You can even color it in with the hot pink if you wanted to, just to make it stand out. But that's all there is to it. I can do that background on this entire page, and it will look awesome. I can go as wide with this dark color as I wanted to. I can go shallower. Really, and that's, you know, just vary it up. What feels good, play with it. Don't even, you know, you don't want to, don't do each section the same. Break it up. Like maybe this section, you don't have as much dark outline as you do right up here. So just have fun with it. But that's really all there is to it. Okay, to wrap up this background section, let's go over the simple steps I gave you to color a very simple background for these mythographic pages. So the first step would be choosing or sticking to a color family. That would be like this page here, sticking to the blues, or on the other page, the color family with the grays and browns, but just a handful of colors. That just keeps it simple. You could do a sunset with like 4 or 5 different colors. You could do a rainbow, whatever, as long as they can blend together, and it just kind of keeps it simple and cohesive. The second thing you want to do is when you put down the color, just like we did here with these lanterns, just use some light, simple pressure when you're just blocking in color. That's easy. You could sit there and you could watch TV and just do a light pressure on your page, just to get the color down on the page. And that right behind that, what falls in as step number 3 is, step number 3 would just be going in one direction. I think I might have already said that. So same color family, light pressure, same color direction. Then you're going to go back step number 4 with a couple of pencils, and you could outline edges for the background. You can add a subtle gradient like I did on other pages where you saw. I could just take this Deco pink into the hot pink, into the processed red. I could even add an orange in there like a sunset. You could just color darker behind the main subject and go like dark to light as it moves out to the corners of the page. There's all different things you can do. The technique I showed you was just kind of darkening the outlines and the edges. That's a real simple and easy one to follow. Another tip was also to just go ahead and color over the small details and not worry about it. And you can come back later to pick those up, to color those in however you like. But I think if you fret over trying to color around all those bubbles, you'll kind of go a little crazy. So go ahead and color over them and just come back later with a darker pencil and either color them in or outline them, however you want to do it. Okay, I think that will wrap it up for my tip on how to simplify mythographic pages. I hope that's helpful to you. I would love to hear your favorite tips for coloring mythographic pages. You know, I just always love hearing feedback from y'all and hearing what you love and hate. I can take it. But I think that's it. So I hope this is helpful. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.